In the past, you've seen us build a rotary shifter go-kart, a rotary turbo mini bike, and this is the heart for our next rotary build. This is a Sachs-Wenkel KM24. This one came out of a Arctic Cat Lynx from 1974, I believe. But we're Texas boys, we've never even seen a snowmobile in real life, so we could be wrong there. This is going to be pretty unique. It's pretty similar to the one that's on the shifter kart, except no transmission. So we're going to be swapping this onto a ATV frame, more specifically a 1980s Suzuki LT230 quad sport frame. So this will be one of the few rotary swapped ATVs out there, probably one of the only ones with a full YouTube build series. So definitely subscribe so you can catch those other videos when we get this thing running and putting on the frame. But that's the first order of business, is to get this thing running, because we bought this on eBay and we do not know if it runs. So fingers crossed.
Okay, so here is our frame. You know, this is a full-size ATV, so it's gonna be pretty cool to have a rotary on it. We have our mini ATV, which is a bunch of fun, so that'll be fun. And here's what we got from eBay. So we have our pulleys, and these seem to be in, decent shape. We have an exhaust flange and the carb, which is actually really rare. So one of the problems we came across when we were unboxing this and fitting everything up is that the starter is not for a KM24, it's actually for a 2-stroke Sachs motor. So the problem is this bolt pattern right here is much smaller than our starter. You can't really find the pull starts on here unless you want to pay like $400, so it's not really worth it to us. So instead what we did is we got in contact with Go Power Sports, and they have laser cutters that they use for their parts. So we got in contact with them, they helped us out, and we made this starter adapter that fits along the inside right here. We'll bolt it up, and then we'll have to weld some nuts along the back, and that will bolt into this starter. So fingers crossed, everything will work out that way. We have this long shaft coming out that has a little kind of eccentric shaft that is for a vacuum fuel pump. The problem is that you can't really adapt a starter because not many starters have a hole running through the middle like this one. So what we ended up having to do actually is we drilled a hole through the center of this starter, because it's the little pull start wheel that has the cams or the teeth that come out and engage everything. This is identical to the stock starter for this engine. So they reused that design. So we know that these teeth will engage on the inside of this wheel and the starter will work. All we have to do is get this to bolt up to this. So like I said, we drilled out a hole here. It's not super pretty or great, but it is what we have to do. And another problem is that this shaft sticks out pretty far from flat with the face of the engine. And this starter needs to be able to go flush. So another thing we're gonna have to do is end up grinding down the hex on this side for maybe about ½ an inch. So we'll still have enough room to get a wrench on the inside of this if we ever need to take this engine apart. But yeah, we are gonna have to grind that down. Okay, cool. But yeah, this is kind of nice. We didn't have to try and drill these holes perfectly or make them bigger. They're perfectly sized for our M6 bolts. And then, so that all fits perfectly there. And then this, we haven't ground down that output yet, but this looks like it'll be working once we get it fully down. That's all the bolts are going in the holes, so it's looking like we're actually going to be able to figure this out. That's pretty cool. So we have this shaft ground down. It kind of pained me to do it, but if we ever in the future want this to be perfect, we can take it to machine shop or something. Right now we don't really have the time. So this, so this all fits up. We have this able to bolt up. See, pull start. So I'm actually really excited about that. It's pretty cool that it works, especially with this custom adapter plate and everything. So I just broke apart those bolts that held the fan shroud on, and then now I'm just unplug these wires. So we're just having problems getting the space to test this out. So yeah, now you can see how this looks. Kind of cool. I always find it weird how these rotaries have this just like square block as the balancing.
right, we got these all torqued down, you know, really tight. Originally we were gonna weld these in, but we decided that just taking this fan cover off, because it's only 3 bolts, is actually way more convenient. And then that means we can take it apart later. So this is all centered up, torqued down. We use red Loctite just in case, because we can't really access these easily. And yeah, that is it. This is gonna go back together and see if she, you know, gets spark and stuff. It is fully bolted up. Got everything torqued down, and you know, everything looks pretty good. This hole is actually really centered, and you know, the shaft looks a little weird, but it is nice having the option that if we ever want to run the pulse pump or vacuum fuel pump again, we can use it. So there's nothing. Okay, it does engage. Ooh, dude, that is butter. That just feels like a normal pull start. This actually feels way better than our other Rotary's pull start. So, you know, here comes the spark test. Oh, ow. Okay, yeah. I guess I was touching through this, so it went through my arms. But yeah,
spark.
That's a strong spark. Dude, this was like almost too easy. This is kind of, you know, I like builds like this. So if we pop the spark plug in, oh yeah, also, the previous owner, I was like looking in the exhaust port and everything, and there's like grease or oil in there already, and it spins really smoothly and there's no grinding noises. So we're not damaging the engine right now. What we're gonna do is use just a little bit of starter fluid, just have it fire like once or twice, and then it's onto the carb rebuild and getting the actual oil fuel mixture in it.
So we'll give her a little bit of the starter fluid here. That's a little bit.
Huh. Interesting.
Give it a mist. Yeah. There we go.
It's pumping out something out the other side. Looks like some sort of grease starter fluid mixture. You know, I said this was, you know, too easy, but of course, even though we have spark, we checked spark again. We have spark.
It's because you said it was too easy.
I know, I jinxed it. Okay, ready? We might just need to start giving it some real gas.
Yeah.
That's odd. And it sounds like, I mean, we didn't test compression or anything, but I mean, it sounds like it has compression. But I think next is we'll just rebuild the carb and get an actual air fuel mixture, and it'll be safer for the engine anyway. So that's the next step.
Gonna run. You're gonna run.
All right.
Who's gonna run? Today.
Go. Oh well, time to rebuild the carb.
Positive affirmations didn't work.
So here's the carb. It looks to be in pretty good shape. You know, the slide moves and everything. This is a genuine Mikuni, so it's not too much different than the other go-kart carbs we have. But yeah, we'll get tearing this thing apart and make sure it works. This carb is actually, you know, in really good shape. It looks like they drained the gas before, or someone else rebuilt it, but yeah, like everything looks great. You know, jets are all super clean and clear. So we're just gonna kind of spray this out a little bit, but I mean, other than that, we're just gonna put this back together. It looks great. All right, just give her a couple cranks and we'll feel the, yep. There's fuel.
There's fuel.
It doesn't feel like it has a lot of compression though.
Yeah.
give it a bit of starter fluid now that it's got some gas in there. Ready? Yep. Alright, you can stop. Huh, okay, well, it honestly seems like it has low compression.
Yeah, let's get a compression check.
So yeah, I think we should check compression. For rotaries, if you don't have the actual rotary compression tester, just kind of hold down on the button that records the highest reading, and I'll kind of give you a rough estimate. It's not the best, but okay, so one of them seems lower. So there's going to be 3 pulses that it will show, and you're trying to look for 1, how high they go, and 2, if they're all kind of relatively similar. I don't know if y'all could see that, but one of them was kind of low, and then the other 2 are a little bit higher. Also, they should be around 70, and this is around like 30. So with our low compression, there's really 2 main reasons this could be. One, the worst reason would be that our seals are worn out or our springs are worn out, and we're gonna have to rebuild the engine and put new springs and seals in. Hopefully that's not the case, because that would take a couple of weeks to get here and we have to rebuild it, and it'd be expensive. What we're hoping is that, since when I looked in the exhaust port over here, it looked almost like greasy, like axle grease type stuff that the previous owner put in, maybe to keep it from seizing or rusting. But it could be that the grease and any gunk inside the where the seals slide in could have just had the seal stuck, and we just need to clean that out, and then the seals will move more freely. So yeah, you can see this is like actual just grease. Let's see, can I get some? Yeah, that's just like we use that on bearings. So hopefully they're just stuck, and it's not, doesn't need a full rebuild. All right, I'm just gently poking it with the screwdriver, and you can see that the seals do move. So that's a good sign. We'll have to check all 3 and then just kind of clean it out. Whew. So we ended up just kind of using some starter fluid and working on the seals a bit. They do feel less kind of grimy, so the apex seals seem good. We obviously have no idea how the side seals are, but yeah, that moves pretty freely now. So we'll put the spark plug back in, or put the compression tester back in, see what's up. So a bit of bad news, we just tried cranking it over again, used some starter fluid and just the carb, and it did not run. We're still getting pretty low compression. They're a little bit more uniform now, but it's still pretty low. So next order of business is to take this thing apart. So the apex seals are probably good, but the side seals are most likely not, or the corner seals. So we'll take this thing apart, free everything up, clean it all out, and hopefully, fingers crossed, we don't have to buy any new seals or springs. All right. Yeah, there's a divot that keeps this in line. This screw goes in there. That's good. I was kind of worried. Please be good. Please be good. Oh. Okay. Looks honestly really good.
Yeah.
There's some like buildup here. So it's actually looking really good. Our apex, or our side seals are, all pretty free. This one's a little bit stickier, so we'll make sure we clean this stuff out. But they all move up and down really well. The thing I'm seeing is that the corner seals are completely flat, like they don't spring at all. So either the springs are shot or they are just kind of seized in there. It also interesting to note that it looks like this has been taken apart and rebuilt by someone or something, because there's fresh grease in here. Okay, try to keep track of all that. All right. We gotta be careful if anything's stuck. We don't want to snap anything. Okay. Well, so we do have some bad news. It looks like it had been sitting with some water at some point. We have the other side of the casing right here. This side's actually pretty good. You can't really feel any, there's like maybe some mild pitting right here. But our problem is that on this side, there is some actually kind of deeper pitting, and there's also some raised parts. So what we're gonna do first is we're going to just do the old trick of a piece of glass and some super fine grit sandpaper glued to it, and we'll try and surface this down, get some of this, you know, darker coloring away, so we can at least see what we're dealing with, because it's kind of hard to see what's going on right now. So we'll have to tear apart the rest of this casing, take out the eccentric shaft, and then we'll start sanding this. We forgot that we had bought this repair manual, or parts manual actually, and it shows that this was just screwed on. I thought this was part of like the shaft or something, but no, it's screwed on. So we will find out what thread this is, and we can just replace this with a nut. So we should not have, you know, defiled this shaft in the way, but it does still work. We're still able to, you know, thread it on and off. So technically it's fine, but
we'll keep it around for if we want to run a fuel pump.
Yeah,
off of it.
But yeah, that was kind of a mistake on our part. Oh well. I turned around for like 2 seconds to get a different socket, and it just popped off. I heard a little pop. Here we are. So this is off. That's great news. We don't have to wait, you know, for a new puller to arrive. And you can see how the points look. We'll probably, they did work, you know, we got spark, but it wouldn't hurt to, you know, clean out the points a little bit. All right, cool. I mean, they look old, but fine, I guess. They did work, so.
So there's where we're gonna leave it for tonight. We basically got the whole rotary torn apart, and we have a plan of attack for how we're gonna try and get it running. What we're gonna do is our sanding, lapping method to get some of that pitting down, and then we're gonna put the seals back in, make sure they're all springy, and that should give us some compression and make it fire up. So make sure you stay tuned and like this video if you enjoyed it, and thank you guys for watching.